Welcome to a free lesson that was never supposed to be free, but when your GoPro takes a giant shit on you, you try to salvage the footage one way or another, so I hope you enjoy it. This should be an interesting study in how to relieve pressures. We'll also be using a porta power, which is a pneumatic everything moving device, and here it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be pumping that up, which is going to apply pressure to the back of the panel. When you use a porta power, it is important to remember that you're not necessarily trying to push the dent out. You're just trying to give it a little bit of pressure to soften your crowns up. There's an excellent moment here in this video that I think you'll see why that's so important. I'm using a large foam knee pad to prevent it from putting any sharp pimples in the outside of this panel. And as I pump this bad boy up, I'm just making sure that all I'm doing is lifting it just enough to soften the crowns. I'm not trying to just jam this dent out of here because that can cause a lot of extra problems. So here I am with a slapper tapper working some of the crowns that have now softened because of my use of that porta power there. Like I said, my GoPro did take a crap on me, so if you see this video jumping around quite a bit, well, that's because some of the footage was lost. I'm still going to explain the best I can with what I got. As you've heard me explain with other videos, that slapper tapper, I'm trying to put the metal back where it came from. Not thinking of it like a perpendicular motion, but more as a making that metal flow where it wants to go. Coming up is a great part of this video. I'm pumping up the porta power and you can see how pressures work. I'm going to put an arrow right about in here. Now watch as the pressure relieves. Did you see that? That was able to push out like that because the pressures on that crown were relieved towards the middle of the dent. And no, that was not actually the sound of that dent. I got a new editing software and I am jacking around with this video. Now I won't spend too long in any one place with this porta power. Again, all I'm trying to do is relieve the pressure, so I'm going to move it around quite a bit to soften up different area of the crowns. The first 60% of this dent or so was probably done with no pushing tools. The only thing was relieving the pressure with that porta power and then replacing the metal to where it wanted to be with a slapper tapper. Now let's take a look at it split screen with a different angle. You can really see from the view on the left how lumpy this dent still is. So I'm just going around and pinpointing the highest spots on the crowns and trying to get them knocked down. Hopefully we can get this whole dent to come up as a unit by taking care of the crowns first. There's an important point that I inadvertently made. Don't try to get any one part of a dent this size to come up all the way before you start working on the rest of it. What that's going to do is cause some crazy hidden pressures that you'll be fighting against for the rest of the dent. Alright, getting into this dent a little bit. Let's see, there's still a bunch of damage that needs worked out, but we've only been after it for maybe an hour, so. In total, this dent probably took all of 5 or 6 hours to complete, off and on. Here, we're coming up, we're going to be working on the top part of this damage. And so it will go with this dent, on and on and on and on forever. But patience is key and we know that, so let's keep trucking. Let it be known that most of this video is sped up. I'm not working my slapper tapper that fast. This part is sped up 2 times. There's parts we're going to get to 4 or 8 times speed, just because it's pretty boring watching that happen for that long. As you go through all this nonsense, also make sure that you're cross-checking occasionally. You don't want to start causing difficult to repair damage from one side because you're not seeing it because you're only working from one direction. That is exceedingly difficult when you're working on the bedside of a truck like this because the excess from the other side is basically nil. Now there would have been more video for me to show you of me working with the Dent Dial to start cleaning up some of this, but like I said, a lot of that footage got deleted or was not accessible with my Mac computer. So what you would have seen is me using a soft leather tip right through here on a Dent Dial to pick that up. But still, it is now Dent Dial time. So this is my simple bedside setup. I've got a long swivel base here. I started with a large leather tip, and now that I'm just kind of fine tuning, I've got the everyday tip here. So what's happening is I'm stringing this up here and using the inner panel here as leverage and then just pulling out. We're just putting that into the panel. It works real well. It gets around the too much access problem that you have in bedsides a lot of times. So right in this area, there needs to be a little bit more cleanup done, also along this body line. So I'm gonna take that setup that I just showed you, and to finish that dude's sentence, we are going to clean up here. Now I want you to pay attention to these parts. This is where you can actually see metal moving. Now this is sped up about 4 times, but with that Dent Dial setup that I showed you a little bit earlier, you can work very quickly in here. Now, if you've ever worked on the underside of a bed before, you know that it's wide open, and that's why you need that extra leverage point that I get with that swiveling base. Another thing about the Dent Dial is it's going to save your joints. You can customize your leverage point so you're not trying to just make something work, because when you're just trying to make something work, a lot of times you can get yourself hurt pretty good. Here's a view of me actually working on this dent. So on the left here, you can see that I'm trying to get my face fairly flat to the panel to get what I like to call the long view of this dent. And that is so I'm not looking flat at it. That way I can see if I'm getting the dent up to the plane of the panel. There you go, you can see my face is pressed up against there. Coming up, you'll be able to see where I did over push a spot, and one of the GoPros had me knocking down to clean this thing up. But that footage was lost, so we'll skip right to the after. Here we are. So this turned out really, really well. The customer was ecstatic, and we managed to save him a ton of money from going to the body shop and kept that original paint for him. This truck had actually been hit in traffic by a smaller vehicle, so he came to the shop pretty much thinking that his only option was going to be a full collision repair. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this bonus-free lesson. Don't get to use the porta power too much. I was really looking forward to making this video. Like I said, unfortunately the GoPro sucks, so stay away from the GoPro 7 Black. I'm using a GoPro 5, never had any problems with it. Might be taking that other one back. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Your support, your comments, everything is always appreciated. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.